Hey there. It's been a minute. Got in a couple things and figured I'd do a quick vid and do a little assembly. I'm working with on this one some Proline F-11 wheels. Of course, looks backwards to me, but you may see it. They're F-11s. These are for the rear of the splash. These are the 2746-03s. Normal reactions, not the HP or the Y, just the normal belted reactions. I finally was able to get a couple pair. And then I'm going to take the steel bead locks off because they're heavy. I've been carbon fiber on all the other ones if anybody's watched my other videos. But on this set, I decided to grab a set of Team Brewed magnesiums. So not aluminum, lighter being magnesium, stiffer being magnesium, much lighter than the steels, should be just as firm or even more firm than the carbon fibers in about the same weight or less. So that's what I figured we'd do. So I guess the first thing I want to do is let's kind of see what these, just the rings weigh. I've got a couple other sets of rings I can dig out, but I'll be popping those ones off in a few minutes. So I'm going to need to get up my tools. Those are light. Let's see, one ring, 7.5 grams. Two rings, 15.1 grams. 0. Tear it back off just to double check it. 15.2. What was it? 0.3 for a moment. Now it's reading 15.5. 7.7 grams. That's 15.5 grams. Let's see what these are. I have been between busy and feeling like crap, so I've not done much video at all lately. So I'm feeling like crap. I'm usually a pretty edgy. I can be kind of cocky. All right, let's take a peek. I need to tools. Let's pull a few things out. That's the right one. No. That's the right one. I'm going to put in there like the other one locking. The other one does. I guess I just had to get it the rest of the way. All right, let's take a peek here. So these are over here. Get her in place. Won't do a tear. 1, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, 7.6, 2 of them, 15.2. And the steel stock rings, 17.5, 35 even. So from 35 grams to 15.1, we're losing 20 grams. And of course, stainless steel screws, and I'm not going to use them. So let's see how many we got. 10. I'll make a couple sets here. Check. That's the short set already. And that's this bag. Okay. So this kit, we're going to go with the greens. And these are, of course, the S3 compound, the orange, which are kind of, I think, the mediums. Somebody farted in the bag before they closed it. I haven't actually cleaned these. Obviously, I just opened up the bag. Everybody says no foams, and I gotta believe them. These are the same as the other foams. Not that was in. These are the different ones. The other foams that were in the Big Daddies were like this, but the foams that were in the Hoosiers were actually the blue firm foams instead of these closed cells. Throw this over there because we're not going to be doing foams, obviously. Everybody says vent, but I'm not going to do that either. I'm crazy like that. Okay, let me see. I see people using simple green and things like that to clean their windows. I need to go grab some paper towels. Let's put that. I know I got a bottle somewhere. Totally scrapping it. I see a lot of people using simple green or a bunch of other stuff to remove the releasing agent. Some people don't. You know, where there is one, they're kind of powdery. Not realizing that's a mold releasing agent all over the tires. So we'll give them a quick rub with some rubbing alcohol. Let's see a little bit. You definitely want to kind of get that stuff out from your ring areas when whether you're gluing or bead locking, because that releasing agent is slippery. It's made to, allow the tire not to stick to the mold and pop out. If you leave that on there, then it's a film that's in between either your glue and your tire and your rim, or your bead lock in your tire and your rim. And if that's slippery releasing agents in there, then your tire might slip out. So it's always good to rub those things out, clean that crap off. And just rubbing alcohol alone makes the tires a little bit stickier. Rubbing off orange. That. Right. This done up. I've still got to go through. I've been being lazy. Kind of been back to work, but not really. Not been feeling great. My back's been all messed up, and my neck area, my vertebrae's been all messed up, and that's been a real bear to dick with. Been a bit of a bitch to deal with. So I haven't been real active lately, which is probably part of the problem. I really need to exercise more, get out and just be more physically active, because I've been not working much this last year like many people, because the state pretty much shut down my work. They said, no, you can't do that anymore. Not while we're sending people there to die. So just think of the state of Michigan, and in the last year, and where a lot of people have been sent to die, and people couldn't visit them when they were dying because they were trapped into this thing, and the governor shut it down. And you can probably figure out where I'm working and know it's not a hospital. In the sense that a hospital, emergency rooms, those kind of things. I am not working in a typical hospital. But a lot of people, aged and mental issues, are sent and put into these facilities by their family when they can no longer care for them. So that's where I work, not as part of the facility, although I've had medical training. That's not what I do. I actually do construction and remodeling. And these places are old and need updating and bring into the 21st century, and I do work in these facilities. And I basically couldn't work in there for the last year because they shut it down and said, oh, you're going to kill everybody. Can't go work. And now they're doing all sorts of stupid stuff on top of it all, as well as trying to hide all the numbers here in the state of Michigan. If you haven't heard or followed it, Charlie LaDuff. No, I'm not a socialist. Charlie appears to be a socialist. But when it comes to Governor Whitmer and her antics, he seems to be holding her feet to the fire, and I'm all for that. So go check out what Charlie LaDuff, L-E-D-U-F-F, Charlie LaDuff has been saying about things here in Michigan, and you might get a little clue. All right. And as you can tell by my name of this channel, I want to call the channel a little bipolar or not, because it's gone through a few little changes over the last 14 years since I started it around 2007, I believe it was. I started my YouTube channel here, mostly just to upload videos from me and my local RC people here in the state of Michigan when we were running Bajas, HKI Baja Vibes, out at Silver Lake, and some tracks that came up in the area and places I go out in New York, out to play out there, and went out to Cali. But I'd load up those videos from there back when YouTube was chill with you using music, and I'd made video collages backed by metal music. Most of those are still there, but you can't hear them because, well, YouTube shut them all down because copyright infringement on the songs I was using, which you can listen to on any radio any day of the week. Now, I guess advertising isn't a thing, so on YouTube. Anyways. So that's what I do for a living. Construction type stuff. So, everybody else is venting their tires or their rims, and I don't think that's always a smart way to go. I mean, think about it. Everybody's bitching about their tires doing what? Ballooning. The foam gets too heavy, and this does that, and that does that, and balloon, 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 belted, belted, balloon, balloon. Oh, why don't real tires do that? Oh, they got belts in them. Yes, they do have steel belts in them. They've also got air pressure. They're also sealed to hold the air pressure in, however high or low that air pressure may be. Now, obviously, there are some air pressure tires out there people are doing where they're pumping air into them, whether it's a little tube or they're sealing it out and got a little, ball vent up in here that's putting in. Well, good ideas. And I suspect we'll see some interesting and positive and negative results from that. But coming out of the crawler world, where they always scream, vent your wheels, vent your wheels, vent your wheels. I did never, ever vented my crawler wheels. And always had really good results with them. And crawler wheels are always beadlocked. So, there's that. Like, these are going to be beadlocked. But on the crawler, I would use foams, but I would also use zip strips, which I would take and apply, pressure to the outside, almost like you're gluing a tire. When people put a rubber band around it, they got the tire bands to help you gluing a tire out. You know, when you put them together, you got them sitting there, and you put a band around it to kind of push it out. Well, you can kind of do the same thing in the concept of crawler tires, and I'm going to try it with this set. I haven't tried it yet per se, because like I do have foams in my other tires, and I just kind of went for the set look. So you put your stuff together and get it ready and get your beadlocks on. And once you would apply the back beadlock, then you'd have the front beadlock. So those are a little different in that there are dual beadlock rings, front and back, on most of those rings. Let me get this up a little bit more, a little better shot here. I'm kind of holding it up high and obfuscating the view. So anyways, put your rear beadlock ring on, and then I would sit there and do a little pressure push and push a little air out as I was tightening the front beadlock. And then I started using a zip strip or a rubber band. I didn't have really strong rubber bands, so I used a couple of zip strips, go around and apply a little pressure to get it just right. And I had actually adjustable zip strips, which really made it nice because you can on and off of them. And put that all in. And then as I was doing the front beadlock, as I was saying, squeeze the center of the tire just a smidge, which of course would push out a little bit of the air. And it would be a little tricky to do. You'd have to kind of push and pull a little bit to get the tire to allow air in or out as you were doing it. But once you got the front beadlock pushed down and the right amount of negative air pressure in the tire, so it would actually seal tight. When you spin up the tires, even with wet foams on vented rims, that tire is going to expand, even a crawler tire, and even worse because they're not belted. However, my tires wouldn't do that. Of course, they wouldn't get wet because they were sealed, so water couldn't get into them. So I didn't have to worry about drying them out, and a lot of times I actually would throw a little shoe goo. Just take a real, or maybe even some just silicone caulk, a real light dab all the way around the inside of the bead on the rim or on the wheel. So when it met that rim and the thing face, and that shoe goo would take half hour to dry, or the caulk would take 24 hours to kind of seal out. It would seal it and you wouldn't have any air flow in or out. But the negative air pressure, as a tire would spin up, get higher RPM, even with a foam in it, or even a wet or dirt foam that had dirt in it. After a while, you break a seal and it will get in there. As long as the tire stayed sealed, it expanded almost none. I mean, had just a little bit of expansion because the negative air pressure inside the system would actually, the vacuum created as the tire expanded would stop the expansion to some extent. And I think that will play out here. I'm going to just say it all. I've not tried, I've not run, but if you're out there and you're throwing wheels together and you're venting everything and you're seeing expansion, try a set without venting. Hell, if you don't like it, take your tire off and pop a couple of holes in it. You got to undo it. Just roll gently with a Dremel in the hole. Pop a hole in it. Now you got a vent. But I'm willing to bet if you actually try it, you'll like it without. I think you'll find a more consistent position on how they work. I think your tire will expand less. Let me see what we got. Full line reaction. And if that's true and it does expand less, then hallelujah. I try to put these in the same way all the time just because. So without any shoe goo, we'll try. And I got another set. I may throw those together with a little shoe goo just to, that's what I normally did. Now, as you can see, I've got, my green beadlock rings or green lock screws here that I'm going to be using. And to get going, because I don't want to put all the torque on my aluminum screws to seat these bad boys. I'm going to use these stainless steels to get it started. Pull them tight. These ones in tight. That's the crappy thing, to be gentle. Gentle, gentle, gentle. The aluminum screws, pop these heads fast. don't think this thing needs to actually be vented, just because it seemed to move hard anyways. Okay. There's a little pressure in there. I'll give it a shot. Just a little positive pressure. See how they do. I'm going to give you some more advice. If you are going to put in aluminum screws, be smart. run the other screws first. Stainless, you get a better tip. You drive the screw all the way and get a better thread seat. I actually probably should have done that. You run these in a lot faster and get them seated a lot better. So I should have done. I forgot to do it because I did it on all the other pair. I'll do it on the next set. Team Brood beadlocks look pretty nice. Being of metal, magnesium, they're pretty stiff. Very lightweight. Should really help hold that bead in. I may at some point fill these out with aluminums, but I'll do them half and half. Add a little color, but keep everything in good solid shape. Wrong thread shit. That's for the other set. I'll do that one later tomorrow. Okay, there we go. One set of Proline reactions on F-11s with Team Brood 12-hole beadlock rings. These look nice. Let's see what they are weight-wise. I don't have any other tires off anything at the moment. Let's see, one complete tire, 124.3 grams. 24.4, 249.5 for both. Not too bad. All right, well, there we go. That will get one more set of tires. Like I said, I got a whole nother set. I'll be doing those with the red bolts. I'll add a little color in for the other rig, but I got the reactions as well as a set, or I'm sorry, I got, excuse me, the Hoosiers and a set of reactions for both the Chuckworks and the Tarp. Still waiting for my other body. Still on back order. It's okay. I'm not opposed to waiting. But I did want to talk about this for a second because, man, people got to understand, and you never will unless it's something you have personal experience with. For anybody out there who's thinking about getting into manufacturing some widget for something that you enjoy or hobby you enjoy or even a trade you're in, starting a small business, starting out small is not easy. I got into anodizing a decade ago. Not hard work, not very expensive to actually get into and do. A lot of call for our good anodizing in RC. But you really got to understand what's going on. I was able to do good work, but I just didn't have the time to dedicate strictly to it. And if I did, I wouldn't have the money to start up, because you make some okay money, but you're not going to survive on it. Now, with other items, especially two main RC items, which everybody is very fickle and finicky about. They're two of the hardest items probably to make in RC and bring a product that's longevity viable. I.e., you're not going to make 2 or 3 and be done. You're going to make, or a couple dozen. You're going to make thousands and thousands and sell these items. Is an expensive venture. Those 2 items are tires and bodies, because the molds are tricky. Now let's take bodies, as I'm talking about when waiting for one. I'm waiting for my backyard RC Alpha body, which is the 73, 74 Vega body that everybody's seen last year and just drooled over. The prototyping, the mold to do that body, I've heard the numbers put out there, and I'm sure these are actually low, because I know what a quality CNC guy costs and that kind of stuff. To do a mold for a body, yes, you can make one out of wood, of the hard, if you use ebony wood or maple or some really hard wood, it's going to last a while. But after a certain amount of pulls, that wood's going to start degrading. It's going to start chipping off. It's going to start getting nicks and dents and everything. So you're going to have to continually make a mold to pull a body on if you're doing something like that with wood. That's the way it was done back in the old day, which is why bodies were and still are kind of expensive. The molds are expensive to do. Today, with technology, it's not any less expensive, but we do get a lot better quality mold. So you can take a body and do it out of wood and spend a couple $100 and a few $100, then get that body all shaped, and do that every once in a while, because you'll have to make new molds. But sooner or later, you're going to get tired of doing that. The mold's going to break down. You're going to have issues. So with technology, you can now CNC stuff, especially out of aluminum. But to CNC a mold, I had a buddy, Hostile Hobby. Some of you may remember Rob from Hostile. I don't know if Rob's still doing RC stuff, but back in the Baja, HPI Baja 5B days a decade ago, Rob got into making tires. He made a knobby Baja 5B tire. Anybody that knows Hostile Hobby knows Hostile's tires, and these things were badass. But the aluminum molds to make the tires were pricey. Even 10 years ago, it was probably $7,000, $8,000 per mold for one tire. So, you'd make a single mold and you'd pull rear knobby tires, and you'd have to pull a pair of tires to get a pair of tires for a Baja. Or you do multiple molds, so you can pull more than one at a time, or pour more, or push more than one, depending on what you're doing. With rubber, you're injecting hot injection molds. So they're not just throwing together pieces of wood that are going to last forever. It's a very precise piece of tool, mold product that needs to be tooled. And the aluminum will last way longer than the wood, but it will still degrade over thousands of pulls and will need to be tweaked and touched up and sometimes replaced after a couple of 10,000 pulls. At any rate, it's not a cheap venture. And then to be able to do it and do it repeatably is not easy, especially for a small company just starting out, 1 or 2 people getting things going. It's a lot of work. You've got problems to solve. You've got hiccups to issue, get by, which is why a lot of people end up failing in a couple of years with a business, because they're not prepared for the challenges that will come at them because they don't know them. They're not financially able to get up to the challenges to suffice to get past that next hurdle. So a lot of businesses fail for a myriad of reasons. But the ones who push and keep pushing and keep hammering on eventually get past the hurdles and get production running. And that's where we're at with this alpha body. A lot of people complaining it's taking forever. If you think it's that easy, design a body and bring it to market. Now I see one guy is doing a split bumper Camaro, and it looks like he's starting to take pre-orders right now. $50 a body. It's a pretty fair price. I think that's what the alpha bodies were. It might have been 60. At any rate, that's what a Proline body is. 50, 60 bucks, 40 bucks. So the pricing ain't that far up. However, everything I've seen on the split bumper Camaro body is all 3D CAD stuff. That's great. What's the mold going to be out of? I don't think it's going to be 3D printed. I think somebody's going to do it. Maybe he's got his own mill machine or his own CNC machine and he can make his mold cheaper. But to get a body like a Vega or a split bumper Camaro for the no prep drag area, drag seat, to get a body ready to just start pulling bodies, it's going to cost $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 if you really are serious about doing it. And that's just the startup cost. That's not anything at all. It's just getting your pieces parts. That's not talking about setting up contracts, travel time, making deals and finding companies to do particular parts if you're going to outsource them. Because doing everything in-house is great, but that means time and money to do it. And if you're trying to do 5 things, you're only going to be stuck being able to do 1. So I don't mind waiting. I got into this knowing this may be a 2 or 3 month wait. It's been 6 since I've ordered my body, and that's okay. Because Justin over at Backyard has been very upfront every step of the way about the delays. And if you can't deal with a longer delay, he'll sadly refund your money, but you will refund your money because he would rather see you get the body. Believe me, I know for a fact there's no way that Justin is happy about having to wait, and definitely not happy about having customers call him complaining about waiting for a body that they haven't got yet, knowing that there was going to be a significant wait. It's gotten to be pretty long, but that's how things go. And not to mention the last year of this whole, corona beard virus crap that the government, look, I'm going to say something here. I don't care if you like it or not. Corona didn't shut everything down. The government shut everything down. And I'm not pleased, obviously. I was mentioning it a little bit earlier. This cure was far worse than any viral disease. And you can suck my dick, Facebook and YouTube. If you're going to censor this shit, fuck you. You commie cocksuckers. Yes, I said it. So anyways, the government shut all this shit down. Now we know it came out of a lab, or almost guaranteed it's come out of a lab. I got my Facebook 2 accounts. I just created one, so 2 accounts, 3 accounts actually. I had one deactivated in early 2019 before the pandemic, but they banned my other 2 accounts that I was on. Every couple of weeks, I was getting on one of the accounts. Every month, I was getting the 30-day ban after a couple of days because I would eventually or inevitably share something talking about the lab in China, in Wuhan, that was working with bat coronaviruses to spread them to humans to create a vaccine to stop that spread once it happened. But no, I got my channel's banned for that. I haven't got banned on YouTube because I haven't been doing that stuff in the last 4 or 5 years. If you go back, as I said, now I started my channel in 2007 doing RCs. Around 2013, I started getting active in Michigan into the cannabis movement. And some of this channel's been used for that. So this channel's went through some worse. As you see by my name, the Perception Deception, or Timothy Locke's Perception Deception. I called my other show the Perception Deception Show. Because our perceptions are being deceived by these cocksuckers in media and government. And the fact that they banned my account and other people's account on Facebook, here on YouTube, talking about the coronavirus or ivermectin or hydrochloroquine or the Wuhan lab where it probably was released from, inadvertently or not, which has ties to the PLA, People's Liberation Army, the Chinese military, and getting funding from Dr. Fucky in our own NIH and NAIDA, his own little private fuck you organization. Yeah. So I've been wanting to get more active back into this discussion. I've got a lot to say, and I piss off both sides when I say it, so I'm very happy saying it. At any rate, I'm debating on switching things around, maybe starting a second channel and moving all my political stuff there, leaving the RC stuff here. But at any rate, they kind of go hand in hand because politics has gotten so pervasive, it's even into our RC stuff. If you're a quad flyer or a drone flyer or an air flyer in the RC world, you are well aware of how the government has been trying to encroach upon our freedoms to enjoy ourselves, even in this very remote hobby that not that many people are into. But the government's getting pervasive into this. I see a lot of RC people. We can't talk about politics. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. If you don't talk about it, you're going to get run over by it. So I may just leave this thing combined and just do RC and politics and piss everybody off. But at any rate, these tires went together pretty well. I'll throw the other set together tomorrow. But I'm going to go back and watch some other stuff. I just getting bored. Figured I'd take some time, run my mouth, flap my lips. See, I had all my teeth taken out about 10 years ago because I got bad teeth. And they were causing more than some problems. And when I got active in the marijuana movement here in Michigan, the anti-active people, I don't want to say they're anti-activists, they were marijuana activists, but they were, we need government to save us marijuana activists, and I'm a we need to get the government out activist. Don't matter if it's marijuana or whatever it is, we need to get the government out as much as possible. But one of the big, mouth runners over on the other side, because I don't have any teeth cleaned up, but he's just flapping his lips, his way of trying to take a jab at me for not having any teeth. Well, I'll tell you what, Rick Thompson, look me in the face, motherfucker. You come find me, big boy, and I'll fuck you up. And that's today, Rick Thompson, you sick porn stash motherfucking pedophile bitch. So anyways, that's all I really wanted to say. You guys have a good evening.